Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about life goals. So, cheers. I'm drinking decaf iced tea these days. I'm on kind of a decaf phase of my life. I've done this before, and it's time to do it again. That is a life goal, but it's not one of the life goals that I have listed to talk about today. I have watched people make these goals over years of being on YouTube and watching YouTube. And I just happened to watch one earlier when I was having my lunch, and it was Becca at Becca's Books and Bujo. I love watching Becca's videos. I just, I don't know. I don't have that much in common with her in this phase of my life, but I remember what it was like to be a mom of two small kids. Actually, I ended up with three. I was a Lutheran. I was raised Lutheran. I went to a Lutheran church and a Lutheran school. She lives in the Midwest, just a lot of things that are actually, I think she lives in Minnesota, but, a lot of similarities, and we read a lot of the same books. And today she was doing a 24 goals in the year 2024 list. And I have made goals before and just never shared them. I share my bookish goals, but I don't usually share my life goals with you. And there are a couple of them this year that are standing out to me. And before I knew it, I made a list of 24, which I thought was kind of crazy, but it makes a good bit of sense because they're pretty realistic and pretty doable for the most part. Some of them will be a challenge for me, but I think I'm up to the challenge. Last year was a little less intentional for me. We started out the year recognizing that we had a wedding coming up. We had just moved here. We were caring for our aging dog, who we lost earlier in the year. We started fostering dogs, which I do love doing, mind you, but it also has been something that, I don't know, entered into without really considering some of the implications and some of the ways in which we kind of want to do this. As right now, I'm filming this while we have two puppies that are sleeping. Hopefully, they stay asleep while we're doing this. And we, of course, have our cat, Sheldon, and we have our other two dogs. And so that's a lot. And I have recognized this last year that my anxiety was a little bit higher for a couple of reasons during the year. And there's some things that are going to happen in 24 that, while wonderful, are a little anxiety provoking as well. So there's some kind of intentionality that I want to create for my health, for my physical and my mental health. There's some intentionality I have for decluttering and organizing, and there's some intentionality I have for spending time with people. I would say that those pretty much kind of encompass all of these goals. So let's get started. And these are in no particular order of priority. Okay. So the first one is I'd like to get back to a goal I set a couple of years ago, and that one was to organize my photos and my slides. Now, I am not by any stretch thinking that I will completely organize all of my physical and digital photos as well as all of the slides that my father took in his lifetime, but I would like to make a dent in this. So I would like to be able to say, for example, I have a solution for my photo organization that works both for the curating of it in files as well as for the purging of the things that I take screenshots of or randomly send to somebody and then don't delete. I would love to figure out how to organize these things in a way that works. I don't have a way that works yet, so I really need to prioritize that as well. But just starting without the way to organize is the first step. I want to knit more. I typically only knit in the winter, and that's fine. And there's, obviously it's it's not easy to knit a large blanket in the South in the summer. But I don't typically knit large blankets. I typically knit hats, gloves, little things, washcloths, whatever. But I enjoy knitting. It keeps me awake at night when I want to watch television. It's soothing and meditative. So I would like to knit at least 5 things this year and hopefully something new. Maybe I will knit a blanket this year. You never know. I would like to take yoga classes, both in person as well as online. And there is someone that I follow on YouTube on and off again. Her name is Adrienne, and she has Yoga with Adrienne. I really enjoy her videos. She does have a January challenge, so I could kind of kick off the year with that. But yeah, I think yoga is going to really strengthen both my physical strength and health, but also my mental health. Participate in online groups that I have joined and paid for. There are 2 of them that I have paid for a number of years, and have participated more in the past than I did in the year of moving and weddings and all that stuff. So this last year and a half, I've really slacked off of that, and I want to get back to it. In fact, so much so that the day I'm filming this, I have an event tonight that I signed up to be in live on Zoom, and one again tomorrow night that I signed up to be in live. And it's about habits and organization. So that should be helpful to me for sure. I want to do more healthy meal prepping, which I did do for a long time, or just succumb to a subscription service and let them do that. Because I had a couple of days off during the holiday season, I was able to do some meal prepping and freeze some things. I do like it when I can make salads for the week ahead of time for myself, which I did a lot of last year, and that really worked for me. But I'd like to expand that beyond salads and maybe to do some little meal prep and freeze some things. I'm not sure how, but it's hard to cook for 2 people because we either have all kinds of leftovers or we freeze things that we forgot that we froze. So I need to figure out a plan so that I can keep track of what I have prepped and when we're going to eat it. I'm going to weigh myself at least 2 times a week. And within this goal, I'm going to watch myself lose 10 pounds. 10 pounds is not a lot, except that it can be. So I have done it before and I have gained it back. So it's time for me to really start counting my calories and weighing myself and just keeping those accountability numbers in my brain so that I can stay on track. Along with that goal, I'm going to check my blood sugar at random times, 7 times a week. I typically just check my fasting blood sugar, but that isn't always indicative of what I'm eating and what the impact of that is. And so I'm going to check it at different times during the day, but still, I'll probably check it a lot in the morning because that kind of gives me an idea of what's happening. Yesterday, I checked my blood sugar 2 hours after lunch. It was high. I was sort of stunned by how high it was. Then I realized later I forgot to take my medicine in the morning. So you can't get your blood sugar down if you don't take your medicine. If I were to lose 10 pounds, and my A1C is really good, although that's another goal in a second. But if you lose weight, you sometimes can get off your medication. Wouldn't that be great? So back to that, A1C, it's currently at 6.0. I'm being very transparent with you today. 6.0 is a good place for me to be, but I'd really like to be at 5.7 or 5.8 the next time I go to my doctor. So that's the goal. 5.7 or 5.8. And if you don't know what an A1C level is, it is the cumulative level of your blood sugar over a 3-month period. We have to organize 2 places in this house. Most of our house is pretty well organized, although the way my house was at the Christmas season and how cluttered it was, I know you were thinking, how does this woman live this way? But I had puppies. I had puppies. But our general areas in this house are pretty well organized, with the exception of the garage and the creative space with all of the scrapbooking paper and rubber stamps and all that stuff. So it's time for a major purge and organization of those 2 areas. And we're going to try to reduce the size of our storage shed now that we have a garage. We just haven't intentionally done that. So we're going to really focus on shelving and some other solutions to be able to make that space more attractive and more accessible. Back to the physical goal, I'm going to walk about 5 times a week. That's my range goal, 5 times a week, which isn't every day, but again, weather or whatever else could prohibit that. I don't have any like I have to walk a mile or anything like that. I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to be more intentional about walking. I'm going to meditate twice a day in the morning and in the evening. I just texted my daughter earlier and said, I had done my meditation this morning. It's one that we both have used. It was wonderful. And I would love for her to meditate more too, because she has a very stressful job as well. And I said, I'm going to try to do it in the morning and at night so that I wake up more relaxed and I'm ready for the day in a different way, more intentionally kind of centered and grounded and just peaceful. And then I'm going to do it before I go to bed too, because sometimes when I sort of recap the day and all those kinds of things, it can be a little stressful at night too. So unplug from my phone 1 time per month. We used to do this regularly. It's luxurious. It makes the day go by so slowly. We did not do it over the holidays, although we intended to, just because of certain things that were happening. And then the kids were traveling. We wanted to make sure we could communicate with them and know where they were and how things were going. And I'm glad we did, because one of my youngest daughter and her husband had a blowout on the road. So we had to find them a place to get tires where they were. And, it was just so scary for us and for them, probably more so for them. So we're going to unplug completely for 24 hours. That's 1 time a month. Back to that. We used to do it. It was fun. It was lovely. It's time. We're on our phones and our devices way too much. Date nights, at least 1 to 2 a month. It doesn't always have to be with my partner alone and I. We could have a date night with, our littles if they wanted to go somewhere, or a date day. But just intentionally being together with someone that we love twice a month seems relatively easy, right? Could be a movie, unless it's an unplugged day. We have I almost said a bad word. We have a bunch of puzzles. And my sister and brother-in-law are so sweet to bring them to us. And I also have puzzles that my kids have gotten me and my partner's gotten me, and I've had inquired over the years. It is time to put some puzzles together. So ideally, I would like to put together 10 puzzles this year. That's not quite one a month. I feel like that's reasonable. One of the things that hangs me up from putting puzzles together is I have a dog whose name is Agnes, and yes, I'm calling you out, who will eat puzzle pieces if I put the puzzle together on the dining room table. If I put the puzzle together on this island bar, she can't get up here because she's short. The goal is to put the puzzle together up here, which I know will disrupt prepping and cooking a little bit now and again, but I think I can do it if I stay on one side of this island. And of course, then the kids can help me, my partner can help me, people who pass through the house can help me. It doesn't have to be just me, but I want to get some of these puzzles put together. It's very peaceful to me to put together a puzzle. It really, really is. I'm going to sit and read on our patio at least once a month. We put the concrete down. We got a couch out there last year toward the end of the year with cushions. We have a fire pit, which I have been taking advantage of the last few weeks when it's been cooler. We have a nice yard. It's quiet for the most part. And I would like to read outside more. I'm a person who ends up in the house a lot, and we're going to talk about that again in more detail in a minute. So I'd like to be outside more in general. Look at my hands today. Okay. I'd like us to go on a trip or a cruise, and I feel like that's doable. We used to travel 5 or 6 times a year before 2020, and then we kind of, got out of the habit. But I would like us to go somewhere special this year, and it may be the whole family, it may just be me and my partner. I don't know yet, but I want to go somewhere. Maybe a cruise, maybe a weekend away. It doesn't have to be anything long and lavish, just something peaceful and fun and entertaining, and again, getting out of the house. I want to build a little free library. I had one before. I miss it. We had one where we used to live. We then were asked if we could put it in if we would put it in the community garden, which we did do. And then a hurricane took it. And then somebody else built another one for the community garden. So kudos to them. I would like to have a little free library in my front yard somewhere. I need to check with our HOA because we have one of those now. But if I get it approved, maybe I don't even have to put it in the front yard. Maybe we can put it by the pond. But I would like to have a little free library in my neighborhood. And I asked my community group on Facebook, and there was a lot of positive response to that. People who also wanted to do one, which was my neighbors, which was fun to find out. So maybe he'll help us build it. Uh, and then also some other people. We have a homeschooling couple here, and they were all intrigued by it as well. So little free library time sometime this year. Spend time with our friends more often. We used to really connect with our friends a lot. And then again, 2020 kind of ruined a lot of that for a lot of us. But we used to have really very frequent friend gatherings. We would, have cookies. We would share recipes. We would go to the movies, whatever it was. I want that back. And our friends now live a bit of a jaunt away from us. We've made some new friends here where we live too, but I don't care how far we are. We'll just meet somewhere in the middle or we'll alternate, but I would like to be more regular and intentional about having our friends over. I need some new clothes. I need to purge some old clothes and get some new clothes. And I've been kind of hesitating to do that because I've wanted to make some changes in my weight and in my health physically and just in my ability to maybe go down a size or two without being sick, which happened to me recently. When I was sick, I got really, down and I was like, this is fantastic, except for that I was sick. But I would like some new clothes. I've had the same clothes for a while and I don't dress up anymore since I don't leave my house very often. I would like to maybe be a little bit more intentional about what I'm wearing and to where I'm going. That's a general, I guess, theme throughout here too is getting out of this house. When you work for yourself, especially when you're a coach or a therapist or someone who has a meeting and gets up and then has a meeting and gets up and has a meeting and gets up and you just don't leave your house. It is really it's a habit not to leave your house and not to really see people. And so I recognize that I don't see people a lot and it's not my intention. It just is a product of what I do for a living. But I'm thinking that I'm ready to be more intentional about getting out of this space. Bookshelves for all of our books. I have a suspicion that when my son is done with these bookcases, all of my books may not still fit in there. I'm envisioning, and it's my vision so far, so we have to have a conversation about this, obviously, a little book nook area in our room that would allow a little chair and maybe an ottoman and maybe another little bookcase or a little end table. I just have this vision of a cozy little reading nook, but I also have a vision that we're going to need another bookshelf, maybe two. I want to go out of the house to my library more often, to the events that my library has. I am a member of the Friends of the Library in my county. And also I am a member of, and it's not anything like sort of exclusive or, but it's called Heart Healing Community. It was created by a woman I know who owns a bookshop and she's amazing. And she used to have book clubs. She still does. I just haven't been able to go for a while, but she created this group of people who are really dedicated to living intentionally with other people with our hearts forward and just really creating heart-centered, heart healing kinds of environments, both online and when we have lunch or special events. So sometimes we went one time to a petting farm, which was lovely. There's some events like yoga classes and, sort of like Reiki and different like kinds of healing methodology. And we do some volunteer work when it's needed. And just, it's a lovely group. But sometimes we just get together and have dinner. And we're doing that in January. But I would like to be more intentional about participating in events where I have to leave my house and there are live people there. It is Lisa's milestone birthday this year. I will not tell you which one, but we're going to celebrate that with a bang of some sort, whichever kind of a bang she wants. That's also a goal. And I host and have hosted a monthly creative event with some friends of mine for a couple of years since 2020. We used to get together in person. We used to all travel to this one location, and we can't do that anymore because we can't go to that location. And it's hard for us all to gather physically because we're all the way stretched from California all the way to New England. But we can get together on Zoom once a month. So I'll continue to host those events because they're important to me. And apparently they're still important to them too, which is fun. And I want to finish television series that I've started. I have a number of unfinished series, some worse than others in terms of where I'm at. Some I'm pretty current with. All Creatures Great and Small, for example, is one that I'm very current with. I'm not quite current with Call the Midwife. There's one on Apple called Severance, I think. Is it called Severance? I have not finished that. Now I'm going to have to start all over again because it's been so long since I've watched it. And that happens to me a lot. But if I start a series, I really want to have a plan to finish it. Manifest is another one. Have not finished Manifest. Not even sure if it's continuing. I you would think during this hiatus of the writers and the other people that in the production of these kinds of things that I would have caught up because a lot of them were not on anymore. But no, I didn't. I read more than I watch TV, but I'd like to at least if I'm going to commit to something, I want to finish it. I think that's it. I think that's 24. Is that 24? I guess I'll know when I do, if I do a little title for each one. Let me know in the comments below if you have life goals for this year and if you'd like to share them. I'd love to hear what they are. Maybe I'll add some to my list. But I think this is a pretty robust list, but it's also a list of things that are really important to me and that I think because they're important to me, that I will prioritize them in this year. I hope so anyway. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments, your connection. You've created this lovely community for me. I don't even have to leave my house to be with you, which is good, right? But I just love you all. I love this YouTube community of bookish people. It's just one of the best places that you can spend your time. So I thank you for using your precious time to spend a little of it with me. An apple just fell out of the fruit bowl and rolled right onto the floor. Not sure what kind of omen that is, but I need to go get it. Thanks again. Happy life goal planning and happy reading. Bye.